Hey, I'm Richard Harrison. I'm based in Georgia, United States. Manage my own investment advisory firm. I enjoy exercising, watching football, watching and playing golf, and also just managing my company. I have a Bachelor's of Science in Mathematics with an emphasis in applied math. I started getting interested in the markets because of a spring break trip in college. We were going to a casino, and I got interested in blackjack and somehow picked up Ed Thorpe's book, Beat the Dealer. And anyways, figured out that he went from the casino to the markets, and so I kind of followed that route. At the time in college, I was an electrical engineer major, and because of my new interest in the markets, I decided to take a option pricing class and got interested in the markets a little more because of that, and developed a relationship with the professor, and ended up changing my major because of my new passion in the markets to applied math, as I realized that quantitative and financial engineering needed a lot of, a strong mathematical background. So then I started looking at a bunch of financial engineering programs at top colleges and deciding, like, what do I need to have under my belt to get into one of these things. And so I ended up taking a bunch of programming classes, and that led me to trying to build up my resume. So I took some of the Bloomberg and World Quant programs in college with my professor as my advisor, and just went from there. Once I graduated college in May of 2020, I decided that quantitative and trading and just investing was my passion. So I started my own investment advisory company. Well, first I guess I passed the Series 65 exam and then started my company, and realized that it wasn't very expensive, and it would be a lot of good experience in investment advisory and just owning a business in general. And so if it didn't work out, I'd still have a lot of options. In college, there was in the option pricing class, there was a project due at the end of the class that involved backtesting some type of trading strategy. And so none of us in the group, it was a group project, none of us in the group had ever done anything similar to this. So I picked up Andreas Klenau's book, Trading Evolved, and basically went through the book. We were running really behind, and I had to read through it in like one night. But anyways, that was my first backtesting experience in Python. During my research and interest of algorithmic trading and quantitative trading, I would just come across things on the internet, like after just Googling some term, and somehow found out about QuantInsti that way, and downloaded their brochure and looked at their staff, and just did my due diligence on them, and decided that they were legit. So before EPAT, I actually coded up a full backtesting program in Python that traded a strategy on the VIX, and it cut on the computer and did everything fully automated. And then I realized that this was a really big struggle, and it was going to be really hard to just cover every little detail about a trading strategy like this. And so I entered the QuantInsti program with hopes to just enhance all of that part of the whole trading experience. And QuantInsti definitely made me realize that there was a lot of things you need to watch out for when you're coding up something and making it run fully automated. Aside from all of the focus on programming and that side of the trading experience, QuantInsti, there are multiple lectures with key people in the industry, made me realize that quantitative trading and just programming in general or by itself doesn't get you anywhere. You first need to make sure you have an edge, and then with programming and all of that, you can make it automated and possibly help, but you can't start with the program. You need to start with an edge, and then, if it helps, automate it. Aside from reading MOOCs online and going through MOOCs online and just doing all of my own learning with programming and all, I enrolled in several other programs similar to QuantInsti, and just never really got what I wanted to get out of them. And so then I found QuantInsti and realized that it was a much more in-depth, and the staff was a lot more helpful, and you could contact them and they would answer any question you have anytime. And just in relation to other programs similar to that, there's the customer services is nowhere near QuantInsti. So in my programming experience pretty early on, I would backtest different strategies, different types of instruments, currencies, futures, stocks, and I ended up finding one that worked pretty well with data from a certain broker, and so I was all excited about it. And then I go to my broker that I actually had an account with, and I wanted to just double check the strategy, so I downloaded the same data, and for whatever reason the strategy was a total bust. So I realized that I guess you gotta definitely want to double check, always backtest as many different times as you can, and with different programming languages, because there's always some kind of, or there can always be some kind of bug or nuance that you didn't know about or weren't aware about.